Now the interview and answer the formative test 2. Listening 2.3.2J. Formative test 2A.
I'm really hungry.
Me too. Let's prepare something we can eat.
I have a new recipe book. Let's choose one from it.
That's a great idea.
All right, let's see. These 3 look delicious and they are healthy.
They are, but let's have only one.
Okay, what about this one? This one doesn't need many ingredients. Do we have asparagus?
Yes, we do. I think we still have a can of asparagus in the kitchen shelf.
Good. We also need some potatoes, celery, and avocado.
I'll check the refrigerator. Yes, we do have them. We also have plenty of lettuce, some carrots, and some capsicums.
Good. Because we need some lettuce. But we don't need carrots and capsicums. Besides, you had capsicums, right?
Right. They taste funny. Anyway, do we need anything else?
Yes, we need a cup of snow pea sprouts.
Wait a minute. Here they are. Can we cook now? I'm starving.
Wait a minute. I'll check whether we still have sesame seeds.
Well?
Guess what? This is our lucky day.
Great. Let's cook.
Listening 2.3.1K. Formative test 2B. Good morning, food lovers. Today we are very lucky to have Chef Goulart with us at the studio. He has just won a prize in a cooking competition in Dublin and is willing to share one of his best recipes. Good morning, Chef Goulart.
Good morning, Miss Matthew.
So, what do we have for today's show?
I'll introduce my newest recipe, coriander lamb.
Wow, sounds delicious. Okay, food lovers, are you ready? What should we do first, Chef?
Well, first of all, with a sharp knife, cut the lamb into 3 centimeter cubes. Once you've finished with the lamb, heat oil in a heavy base pan over a medium heat.
Okay, I think the oil is hot. Then what do we do?
Add lamb and fry until brown and seal on all sides. To have a good result, you need to stir frequently with a wooden spoon, like this.
Wow, it smells good.
I think it's done. Let's transfer the lamb using a slotted spoon to a plate.
Now what?
Add onion and garlic to pan and fry gently until onion is soft. Don't forget to stir it evenly. Now it's time for the green peas to be added. Stir fry for 2 minutes.
Wow, it smells really good. I'm so hungry.
Add coconut milk, stock, lemongrass, and coriander roots. Bring to boil, stirring continuously.
And then do we pour it on the lamb?
No, we return the lamb to the pan. Cover and simmer over a low heat for 25 minutes. Once the stock is thick, add coriander leaves and green beans and simmer it for about 5 minutes. Don't forget to cover the pan. When the lamb is tender, then it's ready to be served with fresh coriander sprigs as the garnish.
Well, I can no longer hold my hunger, Chef. So let's have a break before we go to our second dish for today. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Now, this is the end of Unit 2, Module 3. Before you listen to the material in Unit 3, Module 3, Listening 2, check all your answers with the key and then please do Unit 3. Turn off your tape and go back to the module. Now we'll continue to Unit 3 about famous person. Listening 2.3.3a, Example 1.
Good evening, everyone. Today we have the one and only Paul Newman. Who wouldn't know about him? He has had a long career as a famous movie star. He's played a leading man for 30 years, acted in over 45 films, and won an Oscar for Best Actor in 1987. He has been married to the actress Joanne Woodward since 1958 and has appeared together with her in films as well as directed her. Ladies and gentlemen, Paul Newman.
Good evening, Paul. How are you doing?
Fine, thank you. Good evening, everyone.
Great. Well, where were you born, Paul?
I was born and grew up in Cleveland, Ohio.
Wow, what a coincidence. I'm also from Ohio. By the way, what do you remember the most about your childhood back there?
Well, I guess summer camps. I really enjoyed the simple life, being close to nature and friends. That's what I really miss. That's why I work with the Hole in the Wolfgang camp for children with cancer and other serious diseases started from 1988. I wanted to share what I experienced in my childhood with these children.
What else do you like doing in your spare time?
Cooking, writing poetry, and painting, I guess.
What about things you don't like?
Well, I'm really upset when people think of me more for my blue eyes and good looks than for my talent. I also hate when I have to talk about myself and answer the same questions over and over.
One last question before the break. What do you remember best about your career?
Well, I guess when I won the Academy Award for Best Actor in 1987 for my part in The Color of Money, it was the most unforgettable experience.
Thanks, Paul. Let's break for a few minutes and we'll be back after the commercials.
Listening 2.3.3b, Example 2.
Have you ever seen or met a famous person, Emma?
Yeah, of course. Well, I get excited when I see famous people, and I should get overcome with a tremendous desire to say, "Oh, you're, oh," and I work in a cinema, and a lot of famous people come into the cinema, and it's very strange to sort of sell tickets to Julia Roberts, as it was the other to Josh Groban. And that was a big moment for me because I think it's great and I love his songs and the way he sings, and I so badly wanted to say to him, "Oh, Josh, I love your songs." And I was just too shy to, I just couldn't do it. And instead, we talk about the film, which I didn't like very much, and I was kind of trying to be, terribly witty and clever with him, and it was just such a kind of, he was a really regular guy, really quite sort of normal and sweet, and I never tell him how much I enjoyed the prayer.
Do you have any difficulties in listening to the materials? If so, you need to listen again. If you have understood the whole examples, do the exercises. Follow what the module asks you to do the next activities. Turn off your tape and go back to the module. Listening 2.3.3c, Exercise 1.
How are you, Mike?
Couldn't be better.
Great. When did you start singing professionally?
When I was studying at the London School of Economics, I started singing with Alexis Corner, who is a blues musician. But I gave it up and joined the Rolling Stones in 1962.
Did you play your own song with the Rolling Stones?
Not yet. At first we played other people's songs. Our first hit came in 1964 with Chuck Berry's Come On and Buddy Holly's Not Fade Away.
We all know that although you're from England, but you didn't live there. Why?
Well, the Rolling Stones became so famous and so rich that we went to live in France because the taxes in Britain were too high.
You're as well known as the lead vocal for the Rolling Stones as well as a solo singer. When did you start sing solo?
In 1970, I made my first solo album, and then my second was in 1983. But I still sing for the Rolling Stones, and its success still continued with hits like Miss You, Start It Up, and It's Only Rock and Roll.
When and where were you born?
I was born in 1943 in London.
Wow, you're in your 60s then. What do you think of yourself in your life?
Well, I think I'm a little bit calmer and more serious than I used to be in the early days of the Rolling Stones. I live with my wife, Jerry Hall, who is an international model. We have 4 children and we spend most of our time at one of our 4 homes in London, Texas, New York, and France.
Have you understood the materials in cassette 1? If not, please rewind this cassette and listen again. If you have understood, you can go on to cassette 2 to discuss the next materials. Listening 2.3.3D, Exercise 2.
Miss Faber, you've lived a very full life, wouldn't you agree?
I sure have, dear. It's been absolutely marvelous. I've done nearly everything I wanted. Not many people can say that, can they?
Yeah, and I understand you've been married 7 times?
That's right. I've had 7 wonderful husbands. I'm still friends with them all. I've been married to Jack for 3 years. He's my current husband. 3 years, that must be a record for Hollywood.
You still live in Hollywood?
Yes, I do. I've lived there for nearly 40 years now.
Miss Faber, you've been married 7 times, but you've never had any children?
No, I haven't. I suppose I've been too busy. I've had a very exciting life, you know.
Tell me about your career. What have you done?
Well, I've acted in over 60 feature films and starred in over 30. I've co-starred with all the greats, Edward G. Robinson, Clark Gable, James Mason, Paul Newman. I've even been in a film with Robert Redford, as his mother, of course.
That's fascinating. And what about your private life? That's been very stormy, hasn't it?
Certainly not. Anyway, that's my affair.
Yes, of course. But you have mixed with the famous and the important, haven't you?
Well, I've had dinner with every American president since Eisenhower, and I've had holiday with some of the world's richest men, like Paul Getty, Howard Hughes, you know, the legends of time. That's what people call them, isn't it?
That's amazing. And you've traveled all over the world?
Yes, I have. But do you know, I've never been to China. I'd just love to go there just for a holiday.
Miss Faber, you're 60 this week. What is there left for you to do?
What is there left? My dear, there are hundreds of things I still want to do. Do you know, no one has asked me to do a play in London. I'd love to act at the National Theatre of the Old Vic. That would be marvelous.
Caroline Faber, thank you for talking to me and happy birthday.
You're welcome, my dear. Listening 2.3.3E, Exercise 3.
I heard that you often meet famous people. Could you tell me a bit about them?
Well, living in London, you often meet or see well-known people on the tube and in the street, and as an adult, I must say it's no great thing. I hardly sort of turn a hair when I see someone well-known, but I have a very vivid memory of about when I was about 12 years old. I'm from Stoke-on-Trent, and I used to go and see my local team, Stoke City, play every 2 weeks at home, and I was walking through the town center one day and saw Gordon Banks.
Gordon Banks, the goalkeeper?
Absolutely. I couldn't believe that I was seeing this idol of mine in the flesh. Else, somewhere else other than on the football field, and I was just glued to the spot, and I just couldn't take my eyes off him. He was just shopping, was browsing, looking in the camera shop, and but I just was absolutely rooted to the spot, and I watched him for ages and ages. I just couldn't believe my luck, and that was the most wonderful experience. And it's never been repeated since, because you very soon grow up and become very dull and cynical. But I'll always have that memory.
Turn off your tape and go back to the module. Now listen to the interview and answer the formative test 3. Listening 2.3.3, formative test 3A and 3B. Interview 1.
Have you ever met a famous person?
Yeah.
Tell me about it.
Well, one day when I was sitting for a rehearsal, one man came through and just sat down in front of me. It was Paul Newman. He was just kind of sitting there with he must be about 60 now, but he's in extremely good shape with this just white fluff of hair. It was cut in the way it always was, and you just wanted to sort of touch it, because I've been in love with Paul Newman since I was very small. It's those very bright blue eyes, and when he sort of turned round to me and said, "Hello," I went totally tongue-tied, a complete idiot, because I couldn't think of 2 words to say apart from, "Hello, how are you?" That was basically it. I was completely out of my mind because I wasn't expecting it. And there he was looking very handsome, big blue-eyed, just a hint of that very adorable tan on the face. Just that bit, and I became the total fan. The total. I didn't cut with, "Can I have your autograph, please?" because I couldn't get the words out of my mouth. But I actually stayed for the next hour and a half just gazing on this man or trying to read. I don't really care that Paul Newman's in the room. From behind a newspaper, sorry. But it's rather gorgeous. And it's not 5'2". There was the thing about him being 5'2". He's a good 5'10". And he wasn't wearing stacked heels, because I looked.
Interview 2. Have you ever met a famous person?
Do you mean to meet this famous person in person and talk to them?
Yeah, that sort of encounter. Have you?
Yeah, I was about 16 or 17 at that time, and I was into guitar music. I loved playing electric guitar music, and my brother took me along to see a certain musician play, and he said, "We're going to see Jimmy." And I said, "It's not believable we're going to see Jimmy." "Jimmy who?" And he said, "Jimi Hendrix." And it was at the Marquee Club, and I was 17 years of age, and I said I must meet the man, and he played a guitar that night, where I was just sent to heaven and back for the price of 17 and 6 pence to get into this club. And I went up to him, and I forced myself into his little room, and I met this man who was only 5'7.5", and I was 6'2", with his shock of afro hair, because at that time, you know, coming from that part of Africa, I did. Everyone kept their hair short, and he had his shock of electricity type hair, and I went up to him and I said, "I must have your autograph." And he went, "Hey man, okay, fine, you know," and he wrote his signature out to me, and I said, "Look, Jimmy, tell me what is that chord that you were playing in Foxy Lady?" And he says, "Hey man, I don't play chords, I just play the sounds." So I said to him, "Well, okay, how can I learn to play like you?" And he said, "Feel it, experience yourself." So I just remember that experience was meeting Jimi Hendrix, and it just sent me to heaven and back, and he was so giving. He was a musician, great person.
This is the end of Unit 3, Module 3. Before you listen to the material in Unit 4, Module 3, Listening to, check all your answer with the key, and then please do Unit 4. Turn off your tape and go back to the module. Now we'll continue to Unit 4 about project journalism, listening 2.3.4a, Example 1.
What will life be like in the year 2500, Paul?
It's quite impossible to say, isn't it? But I'll tell you what I think it'll be like. The Earth will be cooler than it is now. Large areas of ice will probably cover most of Northern Europe and North America. People from these countries will move south to get away from the ice, so there'll be too many people in certain areas. That means food will be more difficult to get, and inevitably more people will die of hunger. It isn't a very pleasant picture, isn't it? I can say I'm very optimistic about the future of mankind.
What about you, Jim?
That's a very difficult question. I certainly hope that the world will be a better place by the year 2500. Everyone will have enough to eat by then. I'm almost sure about it, and I don't think there will be any unemployment. I think people will probably live longer because we'll be able to cure most illnesses. Unfortunately, there is only one certainty. None of us will be alive in the year 2500. So we'll never know, will we?
John, what's your opinion?
What will life be in the year 2500? Well, for a start, people won't have to work, will they? Robots and computers will do all the routine jobs, and we'll be free to spend our time doing what we enjoy most. On the other hand, some things will be more difficult. People won't be able to move about so easily because no one will have a private car. Petrol will be too expensive, by then for ordinary people. And I should think that heating for our homes will come from the sun. It will be a different world altogether.
Do you have any difficulties in listening to the materials? If so, you need to listen again. If you have understood the whole examples, do the exercises. Follow what the module asks you to do the next activities. Turn off your tape and go back to the module. Listening 2.3.4b, Exercise 1.
Are you making any New Year's resolution, Pete?
Yes, I'm going to stop smoking.
Really? This is unbelievable.
Well, I decided before Christmas. After midnight, I'm never going to smoke another cigarette.
You certainly sound very definite. How are you going to do it?
Well, for a start, I'm not going to buy any more cigarettes. I'm not going to take any from other people either.
Are you going to do anything instead of smoking?
What do you mean?
Well, for example, are you going to eat sweets or something like that?
Oh no, I don't want to get fat. But I did think of one thing. I'm going to start playing the piano to keep my hands busy. Oh yes, and I'm going to save all the money I usually spend on cigarettes.
That's a great idea. Well, good luck, Pete.
Thanks a lot.
Now, what about your New Year resolution, Jenny?
Well, I want to buy a new car next summer. So I'm going to learn to drive before then. I'm going to book my driving test tomorrow and start lessons on Tuesday.
I learned last year. It's quite difficult to start with.
That's what people say. So I'm going to read all about driving cars first. You know, the way they work.
And lessons are very expensive, you know.
I know. So my boyfriend's going to give me extra lessons.
Good. It'll help. Well, best of luck for you.
Thanks.
Listening 2.3.4c, Exercise 2.
Good afternoon, Miss Morale. The police inform me that you are one of the eyewitnesses of the Second National Bank robbery. Can you tell me what actually happened?
Good afternoon. Of course. Well, at about 11 this morning, while I was attending a customer, the teller next to me shouted and cried. She was so hysterical. I saw at that time she was serving a couple who were pointing two guns toward her. She was really panicked and everyone started to get panicked too.
Then what happened?
Well, the robbers told us to lay face down on the floor except for me and the teller next to me. They ordered us to fill their bags with money.
You kept saying they. Can you describe them?
Yes, of course. I could never forget them. The guy was young, skinny and tall. He had long black hair and glasses. Yeah, he had glasses on. He wore a black leather jacket.
What about his face? What can you remember about his face?
Well, he had a beard and mustache. His face is thin because he's skinny.
What about the other one?
Oh, the other one is an elderly lady. She's short and plump and chubby. She was wearing a suit, you know, a pink jacket and skirt. She's very neat, but she wore an extremely big bracelet and necklace. They are huge.
Any other thing you can remember about her?
Yeah, she had this big mole just above her upper lip. And she has short blonde curly hair. I think that's all I remember about her.
No glasses?
No glasses.
How much did they take?
I'm not sure, but $60 million, I think. Maybe more.
What did they do after you gave them money?
They said thanks and walked away. They grabbed a kid on their way out and said that if everyone that if anyone followed them, they would kill the boy.
Oh, that must be awful.
Really awful. They went away. But they let the boy free, I think, because I can see him there, next to the ambulance with his mother.
Was there any other victims?
No, they didn't hurt anyone. We were too scared to do anything anyway.
Well, thank you very much, Miss Morelli.
You're welcome. I hope the police will catch them soon.
Listening 2.3.4D, Exercise 3, Interview 1.
Ellen, how do you like your job?
Well, as a bookkeeper, I think I have a good job, and I like my co-workers so much. We're like a family here. We know all about each other. We share all the happy news and the sad things too.
That's great. Is there anything you want to do? Find another job, perhaps.
No, I love my job, and I think I could write a soap opera from what I hear every day. In fact, I've always dreamed of doing that, writing a soap opera and telling the stories of everyday people.
Interview 2.
Hi, Luigi. How are things work out at the office?
Well, so-so, nothing special.
Have you always wanted to be a system analyst?
Not quite.
So there is something you've been dreaming of doing?
Of course, I want to get up on stage and listen to the audience go crazy. I've always wanted to be a rock star. Well, it can still happen. A few months ago, I started playing guitar with a group of my friends. We're not bad.
Good luck.
Interview 3.
How are you, Carol? How are things at work?
I'm fine, thanks. And the things are also fine at work. As a graphic artist, I go to work for advertising agencies. Lots of clients. It's interesting, but sometimes I get tired of sitting all day.
Well, is there something you want to do instead?
I really like to do something different. I've always dreamed of actually building something instead of drawing things on paper. And I like the idea of doing hand physical work.
Interview 4.
Hi, Peter. How's work?
Fine.
I heard you are going to retire soon.
In a few years, perhaps. I've been a teacher for 30 years now, and I really love my job.
Have you ever wanted any other jobs?
When I was young, I wanted to be a guide and take people on mountain climbing expeditions. I've always liked being outdoors, and I go hiking in the mountains here in Taiwan every year. I've always wanted to hike in the Himalayas, but that kind of trip is expensive for a college professor.
Turn off your tape and go back to the module. Now listen to the interview and answer the formative test 4. Listening 2.3.4C. Formative test 4A. Interview 1.
Mr. Kingsley, what do you think about life on other planets?
Well, I think that there must be other lives on other planets. There must be other lives in the universe.
What should we do about this then?
I agree with all those people who are spending millions of pounds on the space programs. We must find out what is out there before they find us.
Listening 2.3.4F. Formative test 4A. Interview 2.
Miss Bradley, what do you think about life on other planets?
I don't know. I often see strange things in the sky at night, but I can see them very clearly. Most of the time it's a shooting star or an airplane. It's not very important to me.
Should we do something about this issue?
I don't think that we need to spend any more money on the space program to find other lives in the universe. It's more important to spend money on health, food, and housing problems here on Earth. Listening 2.3.4G. Formative test 4B. Interview 1.
Gwen, do you use computer for work?
Well, not really. As a shopkeeper, I just use a calculator or a cashier machine, so I don't really need a computer. I can't see myself ever buying a computer. That's too expensive.
What do you think of them?
I think they're dangerous and bad for children.
Well, why?
Children use them too often in school. They forget how to think for themselves. I don't think they're necessary today. We need to think for ourselves, not with computers. I'm 59 years old and I didn't need one when I was at school.
Listening 2.3.4H, Formative Test 4B. Interview 2.
Do you have a computer?
I haven't got a computer, but my sister has one. She taught herself to use it.
What do you think of computer?
Well, they are here to stay. They do things faster than people can do them. Most universities use them. I think everyone needs one at home and at work. I'm 20 years old and studying in university, so I definitely need one. Therefore, I'm going to buy soon because I think they're cheaper now than they were last year.
This is the end of Unit 4, Module 3. Turn off your tape and go back to the module. Now we will continue to Unit 5 about job on page 3.34 up to page 3.39. Listening 2.3.5A, Example 1.
Hi, Jim. You look tired.
Hi. Well, I've been doing quite a hard work all day.
Tell me.
Well, it was quite a good day actually. My partner Ron and I had to put a new window in. The weather was good, so we didn't have any problems there. Anyway, we got the hole knocked out by about lunchtime, put in a new window, got the glass, and managed to get in a coat of paint before we came home this evening.
Well, it sure is a hard work.
Listening 2.3.5B, Example 2.
What do you usually wear to work?
I usually wear a swimsuit.
Well, that's a bit unusual. People usually wear suits to work, but you can wear a swimsuit. Only swimsuit?
Not really. I always put on a hat and sunglasses because it gets really hot sometimes. I carry a lifebuoy and binoculars wherever I go. I need the buoy to save people from the water, and the binoculars are to observe the water.
Do you have any difficulties in listening to the materials? If so, you need to listen again. If you have understood the whole examples, do the exercises. Follow what the module asks you to do the next activities. Turn off your tape and go back to the module. Listening 2.3.5C, Exercise 1.
What do you do today?
Well, today is quite a good day. Really, I had 5 tests in all, and 3 out of 5 passed. I was a bit worried at first because the first person nearly ran over a policeman, but the next 3 were all right, no problems. Oh yeah, the last one. It must be the 15th time he's taken the test, and he went through 2 sets of traffic lights. I felt very sorry for him, but I had to fail him again.
Well, too bad for him.
Listening 2.3.5D, Exercise 2. Interview 1.
What do you have to wear when you are walking?
Well, since I work in a very special place without gravity in outer space, I definitely have to wear special outer space clothes, which is waterproof as well as fireproof. Then I have to wear glass helmet and carry oxygen tube to help me breathe.
Wow, so interesting.
It's a very interesting job. I got to learn to walk in a vacuum environment. It's pretty strange in the beginning. It's like swimming but without water.
What do you eat out there?
Well, special food because you can't eat what you eat here.
Listening 2.3.5E, Exercise 2, Interview 2.
Do you have to wear a uniform to work? Yes, of course. I have everything in white. White dress and shoes. White cap with a little blue strip. I have to keep it real clean because I'm working in place which requires cleanness.
What else do you usually bring when you are working?
Well, a stethoscope, a blood pressure measurement, and patient's records.
Listening 2.3.5F, Exercise 2, Interview 3.
What do you have to do every day? Dance. Really? That's interesting. Yeah, I have to practice every day. And when there are shows, then I have to dance in front of so many people.
What do you wear when you are practicing?
Well, tight dance suit, stockings, and belt shoes.
What do you think is important to be someone like you?
Well, first, you have to be quite skinny and have flexible body. You have to be able to follow music. And the most important thing is that you have to enjoy dancing.
Listening 2.3.5G, Exercise 2, Interview 4.
What do you wear when you're working?
An apron, of course, to keep my clothes clean.
Do you need any tools?
Yeah, I need a pair of gloves, a big fork, and a butcher's knife.
What do you think is important in doing what you are doing?
Well, you have to stand the smell. And to be healthy and strong. To be healthy because you don't want to contaminate the meat. And to be strong because you need lots of energy to cut.
Listening 2.3.5H, Exercise 3.
What do you do? I'm a flight attendant and my husband is a teacher.
Can you tell me a bit about your job, Barbara?
Sure. I fly 3 to 4 times in a week. I'm flying international flights from Australia to Singapore. I fly to Sydney in the morning and go back with the last flight to Singapore.
Do you have to do some sort of preparation every time you are flying?
Of course. The company's driver will pick me up early in the morning and take me to the airport where I have to prepare myself, put on makeup, fix my hair, and put on the uniform. After that, we get in the plane to check the seats, the supplies, and when it's time for the passengers to board, we would greet them and show them to their seats, show them how to use the seat belt.
Once you are up in the air, what do you do?
Turn off your tape and go back to the module. Now listen to the dialogue and answer the formative test 5A. Hi, Anne.
Good morning, Miss Matthew.
Well, would you mind telling us a bit about your daily schedule?
Of course not. In the morning, I go to campus and open my building. After that, I would sit behind my desk and wait till someone asks for my assistance.
That's pretty easy, huh?
Not when there are lots of students who need to find books. Sometimes I have no time to even sit down.
What do you do when there are many students who need your help?
I would put the books which are scattered on the tables or racks back on the shelves, or sometimes I read. To be able to help students, I have to know what's in the books in this building.
Do you have to work from morning till night?
No, we work on shift basis. I work during the morning shift from 7 to 3, and the next shift is from 3 to 11 at night.
Do you have to change shifts?
Fortunately, no.
Now listen to the interview and answer the formative test 5B.
You did a great job on that last customer, Paul. How long have you been a hairstylist?
I have been in the hairstyling business for about 30 years now.
Wow, where did you start it?
Let's see. I finished high school in Washington, D.C. and got my first job in a beauty salon right after that.
Well, are you married?
I got married about 5 years after I got my first job. In fact, we celebrated our 25th anniversary.
Congratulations! That's a silver anniversary, right?
Thanks. My wife Louie wanted to move to California after we got married, and we did. And then I started getting jobs in Hollywood, in fact.
This is the end of Unit 5, Module 3. Well, that was our discussion on Module 3 about interview. If you think you don't understand the materials, please replay this cassette and listen again. If you have understood it, you can continue to Module 4. Turn off your tape and go back to the module. Now we come to Module 4. This module discusses about delivering information and consists of 2 topics that are divided into 2 units. Unit 1 discusses about lectures, and on the second unit you can study advertisement. Now let's discuss the first unit about lectures. Listening 2.4.1a, Example 1.
It is important for you to understand the difference between the 2 literary styles of realism and naturalism. These 2 styles do have in common a faithfulness to actual experience and a mistrust of idealism. Although they do have several similarities, realism and naturalism should be clearly differentiated. The realist objectively reports on events with the accuracy of the description as the prime motive. The naturalist, on the other hand, has more of a philosophic bent. Naturalist writings express the writer's philosophy that human actions are determined by natural laws such as heredity and environment.
If you have understood the whole examples, do the exercises. Follow what the module asks you to do the next activities. Turn off your tape and go back to the module. Listening 2.4.1b, Exercise 1.
Welcome to Biology 101. I'm Professor Martin, and this is your laboratory assistant, Peter Smith. This course meets twice a week for lecture and once a week for laboratory assignments. The text for this course is Introduction to Biological Sciences by Abramson. You should get the text and read the first chapter before the next class. You will also need to get the laboratory manual that accompanies the text. I've passed out a copy of the course syllabus. The syllabus lists the reading assignments and exam dates. Note that we'll cover 1 chapter a week for each of the next 15 weeks in the semester, and there will be 3 exams throughout the course. Grades in this course are based on your exam grades and your grades on the laboratory assignments. Are there any questions?
Listening 2.4.1c, Exercise 2.
A brain is like a walnut with 2 halves, a left side and a right side. The left-hand side we use for language. We speak with that side. We read, we make sums, do calculations, keep time, all the kind of practical sides, and as a result, that's the side most people use most of the time. The right-hand side is the imaginary side, the side we use for dreaming, for enjoying abstract things, maybe like colors and nature, and that kind of things. It's also the side we use for drawing. What you must learn to be able to see like an artist is to shift from the left side to the right side, and that is something everybody can learn.
Listening 2.4.1D, Exercise 3.
Well, this little one here, this is the field mushroom. You'll recognize this from supermarkets. It's very good to eat, and it's the mushroom that is most commonly sold in shops. It's easy to recognize. It got a white, slightly brownish cap, a white stem, and you can see this little skirt around the stem here. Underneath, some pinkish brown gills. It is called the field mushroom because it grows in fields, especially where there are animals like horses or sheep. Now, here's a very different one, a very beautiful mushroom called the fly agaric. It's also very easy to recognize. It has this bright red cap with tiny white spots on it. Again, it got a white stem with little skirt around it. This mushroom is actually highly poisonous, and it contains a drug that gives you hallucinations, so best not to eat them. You'll find them grow near trees, not in fields. Here's another mushroom that grows near trees. A very different mushroom. This one is extremely good to eat. Some people say it's the most delicious of all mushrooms, and it's called the cap. And you'll see that it is a very large mushroom with a smooth brown cap, a shiny cap. It looks as if it's wet, and this big thick stem with no skirt on it. And underneath, you'll see it doesn't have gills. It has these white or yellow pores, which look very much like a sponge. That's a really lovely mushroom to eat. And the last one is a very definitely not a good mushroom to eat. It's called the death cap, and it's the most poisonous of all mushrooms. You need to eat only one of these and it will probably kill you. It's a very dangerous mushroom because it grows under trees, and it actually looks quite harmless. It got this white greenish cap, a whitish green stem, and again a skirt around the stem very much like the field mushroom has. But you can tell that it's the poisonous death cap because it always looks for this white bag at the bottom of the stem. So always look for this white bag, and if it got one, then don't eat that mushroom.
Have you understood the materials we've just discussed? If not, please rewind this cassette and listen again. If you have understood, you can go on to another side of this cassette to discuss the next materials. Listening 2.4.1E, Exercise 4.
The queen has only one function, and that's to lay eggs. The workers have different jobs at different stages in their life. When they hatch, they become nurse bees, and they simply look after the eggs and growing the bees which are still in the cells, and they feed them and they keep them clean and warm. And then, as they grow older, they become guard bees, and that means they stand around outside and inside the entrance to the hive to protect the hive from attack of any kind. And then, in the last phase of their life, they become forager bees, and they're the ones that fly out and find the nectar, which they turn into honey. Not for us really, we steal their honey. The honey is really to feed to keep themselves alive. And the drones are the male bees. Their only one function is to mate with the queen, and they die at that point. And at the end of the summer, the bees push the drones out into the cold, and you find piles of the dead drones around the hive, because they're just extra mouths to feed during the winter.
Listening 2.4.1F, Exercise 5.
Most heart attacks are caused by a blockage of one the coronary arteries by a blood clot. This cuts off the blood supply to part of the heart muscle, which then dies. The main symptom of a heart attack is a tight pain in the chest, which may spread to one or both shoulders and down the arms to the hands. Heart attacks vary greatly in their nature. They may occur suddenly with little or no warning, or they may develop gradually. The pain can vary from a slight feeling in the chest. It may last for up to an hour, or it may disappear after a few minutes and then return. A person suffering a heart attack is also likely to feel sick, dizzy, and out of breath.
Have you answered all the questions in the exercises in Unit 1, Module 4? Before you answer the formative test 1, it would be better for you to check your answer with the key. Turn off your tape and go back to the module. Now listen to the lecture and answer the formative test 1. Listening 2.4.1G, formative test 1A. Until recently, the growth hormone could only be obtained from the pituitary glands of dead people. This substance was used to treat children who didn't produce enough of their own growth hormone and who would therefore grow up as dwarfs. The natural product was taken off the market after it was linked to brain disease, which attacks some of the children undergoing treatment with it. But now a new synthetic growth hormone has been developed which, it is claimed, has no dangerous side effects. The new drug is called Somatrum and can be produced in unlimited quantities. For children who are deficient in their own growth hormone, Somatrum is an important medical advance. The problem is that the drug may be abused by people who are not medically in need of its benefits. For example, athletes may take the drug in the belief that it will improve their physics and the physical performance. Parents may want to obtain the drug for their children who are only marginally under average height. For such reasons, experts are recommending that register be kept for Somatrum recipients. The implementations of the use of Somatrum must be thoroughly understood before widespread distribution of the drug is undertaken. Formative test 1B.
Well, there are a number of things you can do. Before agreeing to give credit, explain you are a new business and that you would therefore prefer to deal for cash or no more than 7 days. You could offer a small discount for fast payment. After all, 1% of a bill can prove cheaper than spending time chasing your money. If your customer still wants 30 or 60 days, get a bank reference and 2 trade references and take them up. Ask up to what level they'd consider so, and so a good luck risk. Always make your credit terms clear. 30 days after delivery, say. And of course, don't delay sending out invoices. That gives the impression you're not in a hurry for your money. It could even make you look less than a vision. Above all, stay in control. Make sure your records tell you at a glance how much money you owe and how long it's been owed. You'll soon spot which customers you can trust. and which are proving troublemakers.
This is the end of Unit 1, Module 4, Listening 2. Have you answered all the questions in Formative Test 1? Excellent. Check all your answers with the key. If you find any problems in doing the formative test, it would be better for you to listen to the questions again. For you who are satisfied with the answers, please do Unit 2. Turn off your tape and go back to the module. Now we will continue to Unit 2 about advertisement. Listening 2.4.2a, Example 1.
In celebration of centenary, Nottingham University, in association with Radio Trend, present the Whole Music Series, a program of concerts for all musical tastes. On Sunday, the 17th of January, at 8 p.m., in the University's Nightingale Hall, the Harry Beckett Quintet present an evening of modern jazz, admission free, just one of the concerts to look forward to in the whole music series. Can you complete the concert ticket? If you cannot do it, after listening to the example once, try to listen to it once again.
Listening 2.4.2b, Example 2.
Do you all miss breakfast? Breakfast at Mavericks is one thing you can't miss. Mavericks are now serving breakfast every day between 8 and 10 a.m. Eat in or take away. Orange juice, Mavericks own special bacon and egg burger, hash brown, and as many refills of tea, coffee, or hot chocolate as you like. Mavericks on the corner of Exchange Walk and Wheeler Gate, the fastest, friendliest food in town.
Do you have any difficulties in listening to the material? If any, you need to listen again. If don't, do the exercises. Turn off your tape and go back to the module. Listening 2.4.2c, Exercise 1.
Hello there, Dave. What are you having then?
Oh, well, I'll have a pin then, please, Chris. Say, you're looking smart. Won the polls, have you?
Oh, no such luck. I've been down to Barry Austin. He's got suits, shirts, trousers, and jackets all at unbelievable prices. And the quality, well, you can see for yourself, and there's plenty for the muses too.
Where is this Barry Austin then?
Well, the nearest one to you is Arnold, but there are others at Beeston, Bulwell, and Hucknall. Why don't you get down there? You don't need to have won the pools to dress well with Barry Austin.
Listening 2.4.2d, Exercise 2.
Estate Agent Advertising House. Hello, David Sales speaking. Harrow Road, Woollerton stands adjacent to the open space of Woollerton Park and offers a most attractive tree-lined street close to shops and good schools, and yet within 1 mile of the city center. The south-facing 3-bedroom house offers mass style and character, with not just the usual lunch and dining room, but playroom and study as well. Priced at a competitive £38,500 sterling, and that has to be reasonable for this location. Details from me, David Sale, Nottingham 46296.
Listening 2.4.2e, Exercise 3.
Shopway. The budget grocery store is having a sale now through December 31st, and you can save up to 30%. Just listen to these terrific prices. Whole chickens are now only 69 cents a pound, and lamb chops are only $2.49 a pound. Large California lemons are $1.99 a bag, 6 to a bag. Lettuce is now 99 cents a head, and delicious home-ground tomatoes are now only 79 cents a pound. There's a terrific buy on imported Swiss cheese at $2.89 per pound. And don't forget the essentials. Eggs are 99 cents a dozen. A gallon of milk is now only $2.29, and a quart of orange juice is only $1.69. Shopway has budget prices on household supplies such as round-up paper towels for 59 cents a roll, and Pledge laundry detergent only $3.49 for a 2-pound box. Even personal products are on sale at Shopway. Brand shampoo is being offered for only $1.89 a 16-ounce bottle. So, remember to stop at Shopway, the discount grocery store. You'll find us at 3 convenient locations: 301 Prescott Avenue, 223 McLean Boulevard, and 27 State Street.
Listening 2.4.2f, Exercise 4. The 4th Annual French Film Festival starts tomorrow, Friday, October the 9th. From Friday to Sunday, they are playing 8 different films, everything from family comedies to romantic dramas. Admission to each film is $5. You can buy tickets in advance at the Coleman Art Theatre at 44533 Wilton Boulevard, or by calling 555-9753. But act quickly because some shows are already sold out. For more information about each film, you can get a brochure at the theater. Listening 2.4.2g, Exercise 5.
You're tuned to Central Radio 94.5 FM, 23 minutes to 12. Now let's see if Sue's there. Hello, Sue.
Hello.
Right, and how are you?
Fine, thank you.
Okay, what can we do for you?
I've got a couple of keyboards for sale. One's a Yamaha C501
C501?
and a mini synthesizer.
Yeah?
That's battery one, 30 pounds sterling.
Okay, right.
And next one, Casio and T205, and that's plus a mains unit.
That's a keyboard.
Yeah, that's right.
Another keyboard.
And that's 70 pounds sterling.
Right. Casio keyboard at 70 pounds sterling. The Yamaha synthesizer, the C501, 30 pounds sterling for that.
That's it. They are both with instructions booklets and the original boxes as well.
Good.
And that last thing is a wardrobe, a veneer one, a 1950s thereabouts. That's 12 pounds sterling.
Right. Wardrobe 50s style, 12 pounds sterling. Casio keyboard at 70 pounds sterling. And the Yamaha C501 synthesizer, 30 pounds sterling.
That's right.
Right. Let's have your number.
312865.
312865. Thank you, Sue.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye now.
Bye.
Now we've got Nick on the line. Hello, Nick.
Hello, dear.
How can I help you?
I've got 3 things for sale.
Off you go, then.
A 4-foot dressing table, modern style, 4 drawers, 20 pounds sterling. An indesit fridge in working condition, 10 years old, that's 30 pounds sterling. And 6-string guitar with case, 25 pounds sterling.
Right, we've got 3 items there. Dressing table, 20 pounds sterling. A fridge and indesit, 30 pounds sterling for that. And a guitar for 25 pounds sterling.
That's it.
What's your number, Nick?
It's 21260.
All right, Nick.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
21260. That's the telephone number for dressing table, fridge, and guitar. And our next caller today is Julie. Hello, Julie.
Hello.
You selling something?
Yes, I'm selling an English leather saddle, which is, well, it has a 40-centimeter seat, which is an adult size.
Right.
Right, it's for sale at 75 pounds sterling, and please contact 613-870.
Okay, that's 613-870. An English leather saddle, 40 centimeters seat. It's an adult size. 75 pounds sterling. Thank you, Julie. Bye-bye.
Bye.
More calls on the morning market in a few minutes' time. Now it's 16 minutes to 12.
Have you answered all the questions in the exercises in Unit 2, Module 4? Before answer the formative test 2, please check your answer with the key. Turn off your tape and go back to the module.